Hey, what's up everybody? I wanted to come on here and make an introduction video, kind of tell you guys some of the stuff I like to work on and what I plan to do. This is the Mullet Creations YouTube channel, as you can see why. I'm down here in Tucson, Arizona, where it's nice and sunny almost all year round. So I get to play with all my vehicles pretty much non-stop all year. The only downside is when it's 115 degrees outside. That's not very easy on the older vehicles with their cooling systems and stuff like that. But it makes it pretty nice to be able to work on projects almost any time of year. Some of the stuff that I like to work on, obviously you've seen my station wagon. It's kind of, I'd call it a sleeper build. Looks like grandma's car. Has a nice rowdy 429 big block in it. That makes it a lot of fun. Really unsuspecting vehicle for as much power as it has. Some of the other stuff I like to do is I like going camping. I have like a overlander build that I'm working on. I don't really like a lot of the overland community. Seems kind of wacky the way that they all do things. They just spend money to spend money, which I get it on some things. Some of the gadgets are pretty cool, but I'm much more into the DIY building stuff and aspects of things like fabricating and stuff like that. So my ideas of it are a little bit different than most of the overland community would be. Obviously, because I have a 4-door long bed F350 that's lifted on 37s. Not your typical overlander, but works out good for what I'm trying to do with it. So another project that I'm working on currently is I'm trying to build a rock crawler. I'm about maybe 10% into the build right now. Got all my axles all done, and I'm just getting to the point where I'm starting to mock things up, which is going to be pretty exciting to see how that's going to turn out. That's probably the project that I'm going to have videos on for the next coming while. It's a bit of an interesting one. You'll have to tune in to see to see all the details about that one. It's going to be super fun. It's going to be on 1 tons and 40s, so it'll be pretty gnarly. Hopefully get a lot of articulation and stuff like that, so should be fun. Other things I like to work on, I have a 1957 Ford Fairlane. That was my first vehicle. My parents bought the car for me when I was 15 years old, and me and my dad spent a lot of time working on it. It wasn't a very expensive vehicle when it first started out, and we didn't put a whole lot of money into it really, and it was just a fun car to drive to high school and some of college. And then I took it to Florence, Arizona, which is maybe 50, 60 miles from where I live. And I was doing 107 down the little freeway there, and I blew my head gaskets on it. So that doesn't currently have a motor in it right now. That's kind of a long-term project. I wanted to just put a new motor in it and get it going and drive it, which I still might do, but I think that that car is supposed to be a really nice car, and that is my goal on it. And currently I don't have the skills necessary to make it as perfect as I want it. So I'm building a bunch of different vehicles, like my station wagon that you guys saw. That was a huge learning process. I learned a lot doing that. I did most of everything that I could by myself, and that gave me a lot of the skills that I'm going to need to build my 57 the way that I want to. But 57 is going to be at least 5 years down the road. Other things I like to work on, I have a 77 Ford F250. That is a project that I want to get going. That's the truck that I took the motor out of for the station wagon. I had originally built that motor, and I was going to build that truck into some sort of like farm truck type thing. I got a big ugly camper shell on it, big gnarly mud flaps on the back. It's a super nice truck. Right now it has the original station wagon motor in it, which runs great. I quickly took the motor out of that and put it in the station wagon, and then put the station wagon motor in that, but I didn't finish hooking everything up. I'll need to go through and just tie up the loose ends, and I should be able to drive it. It shouldn't take very much more from where it is now to being a running and driving vehicle. Hopefully I can get that done sometime soon, just to have it as a nice little driver. I also like working on like small engine stuff. I'm not real great at the small engines. I'm fairly new to it all. I've got these little mini bikes here. It's just a little Coleman mini bike. It does like 47 miles an hour. It's ridiculous. That's kind of my introduction into the small engines and trying to learn the inner workings of all that stuff. I've also got a late 40s, early 50s garden tractor that came from my great uncle back in Ohio. I just kind of got that started. It's got a 9 horsepower Briggs & Stratton. It's a hand crank start. It's pretty cool little tractor. I'll post some pictures here of it so that you can see kind of what I'm working with, and maybe I'll do a video getting that thing running a little better. Other things that I want to do in the future, I've got a 78 Ford dump truck. It's a F700. I have that truck. I bought it down in Tombstone, Arizona, and it was sitting for over a year at that point, and I just threw some gas in it and a battery, and it started up, and I drove it home 45 miles an hour. Normally that's a 2-hour drive. It took 3.5 hours to drive. It was pretty fun. Probably not recommended with the state of the tires that were on that thing. But now it's got all new rubber on it. We swapped it over to 22.5s off of like a newer semi trucks and stuff like that. That's a truck that my dad and I bought together, and we're kind of half and half on it. So we're both making the decisions on that project. So it'll be a little back and forth between me and him to see what we want to do. Currently, it runs and mostly drives. I've been driving around to like car shows and stuff. The brakes are a little sketchy on it. If you know anything about the older medium duty trucks, they're pretty hard to find brake parts for. So I'm working on improving that aspect of things. We also bought 2 different parts trucks for that. We have another like 77, I think it is, F600. It's a U-Haul truck. We're gonna use parts from that maybe. And then we bought a 60s Ford, I think it's a 63 F500. And we're toying with the idea of swapping the cab from that onto the 77, just because the 77 cab is pretty rough, and the parts 78 cab we have is also not super great. So we might be swapping it to that older 63 style cab, which is a much cooler look in my opinion. And my dad already has a 64 F250. It's a big old lifted like mud bogging truck on 38s. So we already like that style of truck. So we might do that. It's going to be a little bit down the road project. I also have a big 1969 cab over camper. It fits on a long bed crew cab truck. It's got like a California King bed up in the top. I really want to find an old truck to put that on. I've camped in it a couple times in my dad's 97 dually. I'll put some pictures here so you guys can see. That was pretty fun. I liked camping out of that old nostalgic camper. It's pretty nice for what it is for 1969. I got it really cheap, and it's got a cool story behind it. I'll have to do a video on it one day so you guys can hear all about that one. Another thing that I kind of want to work on in the near-ish future, maybe in the next year or two, I want to build some sort of rat rod. Something that you just buy a body that is missing a lot of things, maybe buy some other frame, put some gnarly looking tires on it, maybe wide tires, maybe off-road tires, I don't know. I really like cars and trucks from the 30s. Maybe find something in a junkyard somewhere. Just get some old rusty pile of car and put some cool frame under it and some sort of gnarly motor. I like weird motors. I like, like straight sixes. They're pretty cool. I really want a straight 8. I think that would be an awesome motor. Even like Detroit diesels, those are sweet. I don't know a whole lot about diesels at this point. That's something I hope to get into in the future. So hopefully we'll do something with that in the upcoming years. Other things that I like to do on this channel will be like metalworking, so metal fabrication, welding, a lot of cutting things up and putting them together. I like woodworking. That's a hobby of mine that I've collected a lot of tools and such for. I just haven't collected a lot of spare time for that. I have a lot of what I need. I just need to finish putting it all together so that I can actually work on it. That's kind of my stress relief type of projects that I work on, and I just haven't had the time for it. So hopefully I'll start getting into that coming up. Who knows? Hopefully I can get the shop put together in the next year or so. 3D printing is a new thing that I got into. My brother-in-law bought a 3D printer, and I borrowed it from him and started kind of designing some stuff and building stuff with it, and that's pretty cool. I see the big picture benefits of having one, and we shall see how far I go with that and what kind of stuff that we try to make with it. I think that's pretty much it for the stuff that I have now or stuff that I'm looking to build in the near future. Maybe longer term projects would be like, I have a big trailer right now that I haul with my F-350. I would really like something bigger than an F-350 to tow trailers with. Some sort of, I don't know if it's going to be like an F-650 or like a Freightliner or something like that. Something cheap and diesel and with a big truck transmission and big truck brakes. That's what I really want out of that. I think it'd be cool to take like a newer F-650 and put an old cab on it, like a older crew cab, and build some sort of cool 4-wheel drive a hauling truck. I think that would be pretty sweet to do, but that's a little ways down the road. Just something I've always dreamed of. Another project that you guys might see coming up here soonish is my dad bought a 1990 F-250. It's a 4-wheel drive pre-runner. There's a guy here in town, he owns an excavating company, and he bought this truck new and he built it into a pre-runner to chase his kids while they were racing 4-wheelers down in Baja. And it's a pretty cool little project, and he got a good deal on it, and it was built in like 2003, so it needs some updating. Pretty turnkey, ready to go right now. It's got a newer crate motor and stuff in it, so it's not bad. It just needs like tires. It's got all like bypass shocks and stuff on it, and those all need to be gone through. And like it's got the hydraulic bump stops, those are all leaking. So we need to go through some of that, and it'll be cool stuff to learn. I haven't really done a whole lot of that type of fabrication or tuning on shocks and stuff like that. So hopefully we get to learn doing some of that. Hopefully you guys stick around and watch some of these upcoming videos that I'm gonna have. if you guys have any comments, like questions or anything that you want to know about different projects or stuff that I like working on, or just anything in general, just put it down in the comments and I will be responding to most comments. I'm pretty easygoing. I like interacting with people, so it should be fun to read your comments and see what you guys have to say. If you like this kind of stuff, shoot me a like and maybe subscribe to the channel. I'm just getting started here, and this is all very new to me, so it'll be a little bumpy to start, but hopefully I'll get better at it. And I just want to show you guys some of the cool stuff that I work on. Hopefully you guys work on this stuff too, and you get some enjoyment out of it and maybe some ideas. That's honestly where I get most of my ideas. I watch people on YouTube and I'm like, that's a cool idea, but if I do it like this will work a little bit better. So I'll just change that and it'll work like this. And that's how I learn. I'm a visual learner, so I like looking at how people do things and then tweaking it to fit my needs. So thanks for watching. I hope you guys stick around, and I got some cool stuff that I'm working on that's going to be coming up here soon.